So first things first, the TCZ is pretty new. It's about 5 years old in the country, and it's been mandated to regulate the teaching profession, and of course the conduct of the teachers, as well as accrediting the colleges of education. But then what does this mean to teachers and even the well-wishers or stakeholders in the country? What it means is that when we talk about regulating, we are saying, can we have controls, checks and balances with the teachers? Who comes in to teach? Are we picking anyone who thinks they can stand in front and teach? We are picking people who have the passion to teach and who are ready to provide this service, and that's about the regulation. And we'll use a very special document that we call the Code of Ethics for the teaching profession. It's very simple and people can understand the regulations in there. Then the last part of the mandate talks about the college accreditation. You'll agree with me, in the past 5 years we've had colleges all over, but if now you went out there, you will see that people now are following the set benchmarks by the council. We can't have anyone who just wakes up to open up a college. People now are following the rules. So the TCZ is providing validations. That is to make sure that the operations are normal and we have the qualified lecturers and the colleges have appropriate infrastructure. So that is basically what the mandate is. With regards to the strides, I know teachers today are expecting so much from the TCZ, and I need to be so quick to mention that we cannot see the benefit like in 5 years. The benefits will come maybe in the next 10 years to come. So far we have, I can put it on record, we have a very workable database for the country. Just by a tap of a phone, I can tell you to say this particular teacher is teaching at this particular school. So we have a very good database, which is a positive to us, and it's a database that can be used by any well-meaning Zambian. So for us, that's a stride. And we've registered teachers in the country. We now know who's qualified, and we now know who's got what qualifications and what competences they have. So to mention but a few, those are among other things that are, and yet to come in the nearest future. We have on record over 160,000 teachers on record, but then that figure is representative of teachers in public service, the private sector, and those that are seeking to get employed. So why the emphasis of those that are seeking to get employed? Because it's now a mandate, or rather it's now law. Anyone who's coming to register, or rather who wants to teach in the country, they've got to register as a teacher. So we'll not have anyone who just dreams of teaching to come and register, because we need to bring it down to home to make people understand the rationale of teacher registration, which is simply to audit the qualifications of this particular person calling themselves a teacher. So at least we now know to say, well, someone is teaching today, these 160 that I've mentioned, as long as they knock at someone's door, whether in the public sector or the private sector, they have the qualifications and they're good to go. Then the what next question is a $1 million question that anyone would want to know. We've registered the teachers, now what? The next step is to license. And I can put it on record to you that we've licensed over 110 teachers as of today. So the what next question is, after licensing, we now get into capacity building. The practicing certificate, or the license, is simply a legal authority that is given to this person that we are calling a teacher. Need I mention that the TCZ was birthed by an act of parliament, which is called the Teaching Profession Act, number 5 of 2013, which has given us authority to register these teachers. So in section 10, it talks about a person who's going to come and register. Then when you go to section 15, it's no longer referring a person to a person, it's now saying a teacher. So this teacher, after we've registered them, we know they are qualified, they've got the papers and they're good to go and teach. Now we need to give them the authority to go and practice in the school. And this particular license is going to be valid for a period of 3 years. So we'll give it to a teacher, and as a well-meaning Zambian should know, so this person teaching me today, I'm not saying the teachers of yesteryear were not qualified, we just didn't know who they were. But now we have this record. So they've got the qualifications, they've got the competences, and they are good to go. And after 3 years, they need to come and renew. We have a number of categories in these people we all call teachers. We have the early childhood. These are the teachers that are teaching the kids in the kindergarten. Yeah, and then we have the teachers in the primary school, that is from grade 1 to 7. Then we also have the secondary school teachers from grade 10 to 12. Then among others, we have the special education teachers. Then we also have the lecturers in the colleges of education. Remember in the first place I talked about colleges that we are mandated to, to validate the operations. We look up to the colleges of education. So we are also concerned about the lecturer who's teaching. What is this person doing? Are they qualified for that particular job? So the lecturers also need to get licensed. Then other than that, we have another category we call the administrators. In this category, we find the head teacher in the school. We also need to know who is this head teacher. Are they qualified for that particular position? Then besides that, we have the DABEs, the District Education Board Secretaries. Equally, they need to register because those, before they became the DABEs, they were teachers first. Then other than the DABEs, at the provincial level, we have the PEOs. These equally, before they became what they are, they were teachers first of all. So they equally need to get licensed. That's the category. And then as per procedure, by virtue of somebody having registered as a teacher, then automatically they qualify to apply for a license. So you need to, you may quickly pick it to say teacher registration is a prerequisite for someone to apply for a license. So somebody can't go directly and apply for a license unless a special category. The Act says every person has to apply for the license, and every person has to apply for this. First of all, they need to be registered and then licensed. It's leaving no one behind, whether employed or not. So by virtue of understanding the economic hardships, administratively we stated to say we allow the unemployed only to apply when they get the jobs. Well, looking at the economic hardships that I earlier referred to, we understand that monies are hard to come by these days. So we've given a chance to teachers to apply in installments. So teachers can apply normally from 1 month to 36 months. That's 3 years. That is the duration for that particular license. So somebody can pay as little as 24 kwacha. Then if one chooses, they can pay cash. So we are simply allowing these teachers to have that breather a little bit. But we encourage them to pay cash so that they it gets them off the hook. And if they can't, they can pay through the payroll, and we're encouraging them to bring the pay slips, latest pay slips, and they make the application. And of course, when it comes to application of the licenses, we are also encouraging the teachers to make online applications so that they don't crowd the places. Looking at the current situation, everyone is affected, including the teachers. So instead of someone traveling from one point to the other, they can actually make use of our online platforms. According to the Act, after 3 years, so the first one is coming to an end in December 2021. So we expect that all teachers should be getting ready by now to renew these particular licenses, and people should understand that it's actually a legal requirement and there's no debate about it. So by 2022 January, we expect that everyone should apply for the licenses, and administrators, in this case I'm referring to the head teachers, they must ensure that each and every teacher that is walking into your school should actually have a certificate with them. Well, several cases. Sometimes somebody can misbehave. I talked about the conduct earlier. If somebody misbehaves, we can revoke the license. Or if somebody has been declared unfit to teach, we'll revoke the license. And of course, following due procedures, we can give it to them. But there are several reasons. Mostly, it's misconduct. And of course, being declared unsound to teach by, the relevant laws in place, then we have to revoke the license. Yeah, of course, sometimes, people are clever. So if we discover, because when we go into the schools, we have systems that we follow. So if we discover to say that maybe it was obtained fraudulently, then we'll grab it away from them. We can't let them have it. Well, first of all, the many teachers that applied, the renewal will not be automated. Teachers have to, prove that they are worthy, getting back into the system. Now, that doesn't mean somebody's going to be fired or, anything terrible happening to them. All we're trying to prove or to bring across the board is they must, bring to the fore that which is relevant to the learners. So all the teachers that applied for the licenses, which are expiring in 2021, have to undergo a certain process. And in this case, I'm referring to reskilling. You get my point, huh? So by reskilling, I mean teachers will need to get retrained in various focuses. So in this case, I'll talk about teaching techniques. For example, I'm a teacher of business studies. Oh, by the way, I'm a teacher of business studies. So the way I taught business studies 10 years ago could not be the same as the way I'm supposed to teach this year. So how do I learn that? I'll learn through other people. So those processes, we may refer to them as continuing professional development programs, which the council is not reinventing the wheel, but is jumping on board to give that condition, because every teacher has to be reskilled in order to meet the current need. And why am I referring to the current need? We have been exposed to a lot of documents here and there which people may not be interested to read, but I'll bring you to speed on the 7th National Development Plan on the outcome for education. It's very clear. What they're saying is we need to improve the skills of these particular teachers, and the council is fitting in very well, because our interest is to have this teacher who's very skilled and up to date with information. So the condition will be that every teacher, before they renew their license, they must show proof of having undergone some sort of training. And that's information that we may avail a little later. And then for maybe somebody who had their license revoked, the other bodies may have to prove to us that this person is free, then we can re-register them. It's a very important document for the teacher, and for us to complete the circle, or rather the jigsaw puzzle in terms of professionalism, we need a set of regulations that the teachers are going to follow. So in this case, this particular code, it has very interesting thematic areas which we hope that teachers would follow today. We have the duties of the teacher, because when I get trained, I should know what are my duties, or how should I relate with my fellow teacher, how should I relate with my pupils, how do I relate with society. So the Code of Ethics has a set of rules or regulations which are not punitive in nature, but they're simply telling the teacher on how to behave. If I go to class, can I leave class and start selling outside? Or how do I talk to my superiors? So it's simply a set of regulations that are going to make this person a complete being. And perhaps we could have time to talk about the code as in from page 1 to the end, because it's quite a whole lot that the teachers need to learn. Well, COVID-19, yes, everyone is grappling with it, and the TCZ hasn't been spared, considering that we have these teachers that keep coming to the office to make applications and also to get information on various aspects. So our platforms, online platforms, are quite active and very good, I must say. Anyone, and I want to believe today we have a lot of millennial kind of teachers, and they have Android gadgets, so they can access the TCZ services just right at home. The way we are going to handle you at the office is exactly the way you'd handle yourself on the phone. So the website, which is www.tcz.ac.za, it's very simple. You can exploit and be able to access all the documents and apply for whether teacher registration, for licensing, and just browse through what information do you need to know about the council. It's 5 years old, but there's a whole lot one needs to know, and it may not be easy for someone to just pick it and say, okay, this is it, because we need to learn why is the council existing and who is benefiting, who are the stakeholders. So slowly people can explore the website and be able to have that information. Well, can only wish the teachers well and get on board. The teaching council means very, very well. In the next 5 years, the teacher is Zambian teacher. I know I can share with you that when you go out there, Zambian teachers are very appreciated. So we can do a lot more, and just to move up to speed with the rest of the world. And of course, thank them for coming forth and appreciating what the council is doing.